Everyone. Our subject today is about the book as a word and how is it in the Quran, of course. Now, the word book in the Quran came in multiple uses and sentences, proper noun. It has actually two meanings. One, to indicate a group of subjects composed each of special different elements. To give you an example, like probably sickness, well-being, death, fasting, praying, etc. One subject is composed of multiple elements. Those elements altogether, the Quran called them in many verses book or the book. The second meaning is a group of verses of the divine message, like the book of Moses, the book of Jesus, and the book of Muhammad, which means the message that gathered in what's called the book. But most importantly, the word book came in three different forms, I mean, in terms, of course, or probably in sentence rather. Each one has its significance and it indicates a certain group of people. First one, in Arabic we say الذين آتيناهم الكتاب, those to whom we availed the knowledge of the book. That's what it means, how to interpret it. Or those to whom we vouchsafed the book. And I like this word very much, the vouchsafe. And it means exactly what the Quran wants to say in Arabic. We offered to them the knowledge of the book. Now, who are they? They are the prophets, the apostles, and all other knowledgeable people of intellect, that they can tell this from that and they know. And this is explained in verse 121 of Surah 2. It says, those unto whom we have vouchsafed the book, and they recite it as it ought to be recited. Listen to the clear meaning. Those unto whom we vouchsafed the book, which means we gave them the knowledge to understand the verses. Okay? And then look at the second part. They recite it as it ought to be recited, which means they understood it and they know how to recite it. This is exactly it. As well, very explicitly in verses 84, 85, 86, 87, and 89 of Surah 6. Gathered together those verses, I read them like this. And we bestowed, God is talking, and we bestowed upon him, upon Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaqub. Each one we guided. Okay? Now, and Noah, that is, we had guided before, which means before Ishaq, before Yaqub, and even before Abraham, Noah, okay, Noah, we had guided before, okay, and of his progeny, and of his progeny, now back to Abraham, Dawood, which means David, and Sulaiman, Solomon maybe, in English, or and Ayub, translated Job, and Yusuf, translated Joseph, and Musa, translated or known as Moses, and Eliasa, Elijah, and Yunus, translated Jonas, and Lut, translated Lot. Each one of them we preferred over the worlds, which means we distinguished them all because they are God's prophets, his prophet, God is talking. Also, on top of the prophets as well, gave them those distinction, or if you want, the knowledge. Also, some of their fathers and their progeny, which means some of their tribe, some of their family, member of the family, and their brethren. Okay, so it's not only prophets; these are the knowledgeable, the people who know, who understood through prophets and apostles the verses or the book and so on. So this is what it means. الذين أوتوا الكتاب, those unto whom we have vouchsafed the book. So verses are many of the kind, and it complemented the concerned, the straight indicated persons who are prophets, apostles, and those who know. And verses usually in the Quran talked about them in complementary sense and manner. Now, the other form of sentence in which the book is used are الذين أوتوا الكتاب بالعربية. In Arabic, الذين أوتوا. That one was آتينا. This one أوتوا. There was definite and known. Here is indefinite, and consequently they don't know. So those who were given the book, those who were given the book and denied it and rejected the message, rejected it, although they had the proof of its divine revelation, which means they knew it was revealed, they believed in it, they were given that those verses of the book, and then they changed their mind and they denied it and they rejected it. How did they know that it was divine? Because they acquired from previous revelation and from knowledge they must have concluded. Okay? How? Let's suppose that the Jews, I mean, in the Bible, there are, of course, in the Bible, there are prophecies about coming prophet, about messages and so on, coming and so on. Same thing in the Gospels, same thing in the Gospels. And one announced the other, which means the Gospel announced, the Bible announced the coming of Jesus. Okay? Now, the Gospel announced the coming of, okay, for Muslim, they say Muhammad, but it's not mentioned in name, but it is meaning this. We're not getting into that. It's not our subject. So they knew that these revelations, okay, are true because they learned them from previous messages. So they knew it and they denied it. These are the people who are called those who were given the book. They could be Jews, Christian, or whatever, whomever. Generally, they are reproached and blamed for their obstinacy and insubordination, as in verse 10 of Surah 2. It says, "And when there came to them a messenger from Allah, confirming what was with them, a party of those who were given the scripture threw away the book of Allah behind their backs as if they did not know." You see how it's kind of a reproach. You knew it's from Allah. Why you throw it behind your back? In that sense. Okay? Or even in verse number 47 in Surah 4, "O you who have been given the scripture," calling on them. Okay? Not complimenting them. It's a kind of a reproach. "Believe in what we have revealed, confirming what is with you," which means something you knew before, you believed in it. So believe in this now, which means believe in the Quran, believe in the Messenger Muhammad, and so on. Or in other cases of provocation and distortion to Muhammad, as in verse 57 of Surah 5. It says, "O you who believe, take not as helpers those who take your religion as a mockery and fun from among those who received the scripture before you." Now, this is an advice to the followers of Muhammad. God is telling them, don't take any of those who were given the book and rejected Muhammad, don't take them as helpers, as, as carers or something, or close friends. I mean, in that sense. And lastly, this meaningful verse, number 16 of Surah 57, addressing nicely and gently. Addressing, God is addressing almost everyone, but in particular to those who believe. Okay? It says, "Has not the time come for the hearts of those who believe to be affected by Allah?" To be affected by Allah's reminder and that which has been revealed of the truth, lest they become as those who received the scripture before. God here is trying to warn or prevent others from those who were given the book, who believed in the message before, not to fall in the same position of those who denied and rejected it afterwards. Telling them, isn't it time that you open your heart and come to Allah? In that sense. Okay, now we come to the third sentence or third use of the word the book. And this is the most familiar term related to the word the book. We hear it and say it often to mean Jews and Christians, whether they believed and still do, or believe and are no more convinced. So here the Quran addresses them, sometimes complimenting and sometimes reproaching and blaming, as we see in verse number 109 in Surah 2. It says, number of the people of the book, indicating Jews and Christians, actually Jews in Nazareth in that time, say Christian, uh, number of the people of the book wish they could turn you back to infidelity after you have believed. Talking to the believers. Those people from those people of the book, they wish to turn you back from your belief. From selfish envy, after the truth has become manifest unto them, which means they knew the truth by previous revelation, but now out of envy they want to turn you back from your belief or believers. But forgive and forget. Look at that message. God is asking the believers to forgive and forget till Allah accomplish His purpose, for Allah has power over all things, which means don't enter in any conflict, in any complication, in any whatever. Let Allah take over. This is a clear call in Islam and Muslim not to have any enmity with almost anyone, I would say, particularly people of the book. And this is clear and well understood. Or even the verse number 99 of Surah 3. It says, O you people of the book, why you obstruct those who believe from the path of Allah, seeking to make it crooked, while you were yourselves witnesses. And the same meaning. You knew it's the truth, and yet you don't want to, new believers, to go through the path of Allah. Why? And finally, resuming one big issue concerning people of the book in verse 171 in Surah 4, which says, O people of the book, exceed not the bounds in your religion. Don't exaggerate. Say not of Allah but the truth. The Messiah Isa, the Messiah Jesus, that is, son of Maryam, son of Mary, is but an apostle of Allah and his word. An apostle of Allah and the word of Allah as well. This is an attribute to Jesus, that he was an apostle of Allah, yes, but he's a word from Allah to Mary, which means a special creation from Allah. He cast it upon Maryam, so he kind of made it happen to Mary, and the spirit from him, and it has a spirit, a touch of spirit of God, which means here spirit, so not to go far. Spirit means wisdom and knowledge, as other verses can confirm this for those who want to make sure. Believe wherefore in Allah and his apostles, say not three. God is refraining them from trying to stop them, people of the book, from saying or from believing in the Trinity, and say not three, desist, that it may be well for you. It's better for you if you do not, because this is not the truth. Bottom line. Generally, most Muslims and non-Muslims consider the three terms to mean the same thing. In general, they think those three are one. We see it's not, according to the correct reading of the Quran, which we should carefully try to understand all verses correctly. As we explained, it means not the same thing. Each term has a meaning. So we invite everyone to read and understand correctly the verses of the Quran. Thank you.